so the owner brought a set of the original inner fenders in for this thing. I got the passenger side all set and pretty close to where I wanted it. When I got to the driver's side, he did mention that that inner fender was kind of tweaked a little, but it was so bad that I just couldn't get anything to line up at all. So instead of sitting there and beating on that thing for another 2 hours and trying to straighten something that I'm not even going to use, he did have another set of aftermarket inner fenders. These I really didn't want to use because there are so many holes and extra like things in it from trial fitting and everything that I thought it was going to be really hard to have them in the same location on each side, but I was able to mess with them and get them pretty close to where I want them to be. So I'm going to use those as patterns now, get these fenders off. We're going to start making some inner fenders that actually match from one side to the other, don't have like 100 holes in them, and are aesthetically pleasing and kind of surround this motor and make everything a little more cohesive up here. Got the sheet laid out pretty much how I want it. So I am going to take that in there on the English wheel, the upper of the two sections that I want to keep pretty much how they are. I'm not even going to run the wheel over them at all. I'm going to use that just to loosen this curve up a little bit here and loosen the curve up on top. So this will be a looser curve along here, and same thing here. And then instead of doing this angling in and back, because it makes kind of a goofy, strange angle, doesn't line up with the frame or anything on the bottom, I'm going to follow the rear bracket, body mount bracket on the back of the car. So instead of this angle here, this is in the car, instead of this angle here dropping down and bending out, it's actually going to come out and down. So this is my first fit of the fender on the new inner fender. So it's got to drop down probably another 1/4 of an inch up front. My flange is a little too extreme across the top up here, so I'm going to flatten that area out, put less of an angle on it. And then when you get in here, I've got to raise this whole section, so that last like 9-10 inches there, I'm going to stretch the whole flange. And then if you look at it from here, this area of the inner fender kind of bends that way away from the core support. So I'm going to stretch it and get that standing up straighter. And I think I should be able to get it pulled up into that gap, and then we can start drilling some holes and actually get this thing mounted. But it looks fantastic right now. Way better than what I was dealing with before. So I really, really like the indent coming along the side here. Everything it just looks nice. So I'm going to continue on, get this thing to fit up in here perfect. And then I should be able to use this as my template, at least that front core support piece and the top fender piece for the passenger side. Like I said, I'm just going to have to make that dish, that indent, way deeper on the passenger side, because the motor is about 1.5 inches off to the passenger side. So I'm going to start banging and stretching some more. All right, so after all of the trimming and everything on the inner fender, it was time to do a little bit of fitment on this actual fender itself. We need to get this thing so that it comes and matches up with this area here where it runs through. And right now it was actually pushing the fender away. It was hitting there, hitting along the side, but pushing it away from where it actually needs to be on the inner fender here. So I used the tape line, little washer with the marker, drew a line, scribed it, sandwiched it together, drew another line while it was on. So now this should be damn near perfect. I'm going to tack it together and put it on the car, check it. If it looks good, we'll go ahead and weld it up. And then this area right here where the bolt hole is, I need to cut the corner of that out, and that actual angle there needs to open up just a hair so that it matches the inner fender, and we'll weld that back up together. So I'm going to go ahead and start tacking. Okay, driver's side inner fender is done. We were able to really simplify this, got rid of all of the hard lines and angles and stuff from that other side. Did a nice little indent in here to give us a little more space. And then got the back of the fender all adjusted so it fits up nice to the cab, just leaving this little lower section that I gotta do a little shrinking on to fit the running board a little better. And then we can come back up here and deal with the driver's side. I've traced that out so I know that I'm starting in the same place. I do know that the inset spot is going to have to be way bigger. So this gap here where the indent goes is much wider than it was on the other. The other side only goes in about 1.5 inches. So this is about double the width there. And then this is the bend on this bracket right here. So I do know that on this side I went from that bend straight up to the flange for the fender. So I measured that, put that distance here. This whole area here should be that upper section up there. These are the marks I traced from the original one. I know that I cut it in the middle and left space on each side because I wasn't sure where that was going to lay out. And that dash line is actually the center of that curve there, because my weld, where I welded that back together, actually ends up being the peak of that bend there. So that is where I'm going to start. I'm going to go ahead. I did cut this notch out because, like I said, I want this fender to lay over the top of the inner fender, not under like the other side. This is way easier to take on and off. So I put the lines there. I'm not going to cut that out yet. I'm going to cut this out just like I did the other one, right along this line here. take it in and start running it through the English wheel and get this thing shaped. And it's probably going to take me most of the day. Okay, well, here is the start of the passenger side inner fender. I still have probably another inch or so that I'm going to want to indent this area here just to get us a little more space. We're still about 1.5 inches away from that bracket in the back because she's still a little twisted. I got all the finish work to do on this yet and attachment points and everything. But right now I've only got about 1 inch off of that valve cover. When it's pushed over, it'll probably be about 2, but I'd like a little more space than that just because I know we've got some pretty cool valve covers coming. We don't know which ones we're going to be using yet, but I want to make sure I have enough space for those. But yeah, she is coming along, so I will just keep banging away on it, whittling until we get it to fit as good as we did the driver's side. And we'll start messing with that fender that's laying over there on the floor. All right, measuring, trimming, cutting, measuring, trimming, cutting, measuring, trimming, cutting. And we finally got the passenger side inner fender in place. It looks fantastic. I am extremely happy with it. It matches the other side to the point where I actually took measurements off the driver's side to make my cuts on the passenger side, and everything worked out pretty much perfectly. So it is time to start doing the modifications to this fender. If you remember on the other side, I had to do a bunch of little cutting in here just to get this shape to fit the cowl. And then I sliced along the back just so I could get all of this nice and tight and in place. So I'm gonna go ahead, get that sliced open, draw my lines on it, and just start slicing and cutting and tacking and slicing and cut all over again. So I got that lowered, dropped the fender on, everything seems to fit beautifully. I have to put a little pressure on it right here to get it to go down, so I think I'm going to tighten up this back curve, and I'll do that on both sides. That should solve our height issue right there and give us the ability to get that running board in the bottom of the fender lined up. So I am going to go ahead and do that, get the center section put on these front fenders, and test fit the hood. I have been messing with this thing for an entire afternoon again. I do have the driver and passenger fenders both bolted in place with the brackets and supports underneath and everything. My measurements are good to the core support, from the core support to the front of the front fender. I did my little bit of shaping on this front piece and got that to fit pretty nice. But once you get to where the hood meets the cowl here and this starts to run down the backside, I am just having all kinds of issues trying to get those to match up correctly. So I need to give my brain a break for a minute, and I just got a new toy. So I'm gonna run this over the fenders and play with this for a little bit and just do a little bit of mindless something. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So the front end is on. I got to play with the new tool, ran over it with the burnisher, which is basically just a Scotch-Brite on freaking steroids, and it looks fantastic. So the last thing I'm gonna wanna do before we head out is get that hood set in place, see how it fits. Looks pretty good. That's the first time this hood has been on this truck since it's been on this chassis. Actually, it's the first time it's ever touched a lot of these other parts at all whatsoever. So hopefully we can run these large planes through the English wheel, get kind of the waves out. That side needs to come down. It's like the top back part of this hood here is too flat. It needs to lay down. But other than that, I mean, this looks beautiful. So I'm very happy, and I guess we'll deal with this hood next.
Push the button! Push the button! Push the